Greetings, traveler.
I did promise we were going to do a bit like this. So for everyone who is not interested in Talkstone, thanks so much for watching. I'm just going to read over the thing, right? In our next update, we'll make a few changes to the arena that makes it more interesting for our players and offer a much different experience with each set release. All right, so the first thing is arena will change from wild to standard. So that on its own, I think is great. I think that's awesome. A lot of people are going to be really negative about this and are going to be against this because they say that, hey, why are you doing this? The only reason I played Arena is to play with old cards. I'm like, sure, that's cool. But then you're in the way of improvement. You are in the way of competition. I am very happy that Blizzard doesn't listen to those people and says like, well, you know, some people kind of want to play, well, not some people, a lot of people kind of want to play with the old cards, but that's not a good reason to let a game mode become imbalanced. And that's what happens. That's what happens if you have a ton of cards in the pool. It's so hard to balance. You can't give Blizzard too much shit for not balancing it if you expect them to keep all the cards. That's just not an effective way of doing things. So I like that they are reducing the card pool. It's going to be much easier to play around cards. It's going to be easier to monitor the arena and to make changes if there are less cards in there. So that's my first take on it. I think it's great. I think it's great that it's going to standard. I think it's going to increase the longevity of arena. It's going to close the gap between constructed and arena in terms of competitiveness, right? Well, not fully close the gap, but it's going to make it from here to here, from here to there, right? So what I mean with that is now they're only a couple more steps away from doing, say, arena tournaments, right? If standard competitive players, for instance, Brian Kibler, like he was trying out arena, was voicing his interest and stuff. So if he starts playing a lot of arena, the developers go like, hey, why don't we do this event where we have this arena tournament, this and that. So that's how you get closer to getting actual arena tournaments, is changing it from this really chaotic, lots of cards into a more condensed style where you can play out more cards. So that's my first reply to the first segment. Then we have the second one, which is changes to card rarity distribution. I'm just going to read over this because it's probably best to refresh it. We're going to make a change to the frequency in which common and basic cards show up in the arena. Common cards were about 78% of all arena cards. We felt that number was too high, considering that many of the cards that focus around individual class identity and power level rely on the common cards of any given class. After this change, the number of common and basic cards that show up overall should be lower, giving more room for fun, rare, epic, and legendary cards to show up in an arena run. In addition, the cards Abyssal Enforcer and Flamestrike will show up approximately 50% less in arena. Now the exact numbers here have been talked about on Reddit. So this is a reply of XR. For context, the numbers are around 68% commons, 20% rare, 9% epic, 3% legendary on 26 of the 30 picks, and then the other ones are rares or above, right? As it has always been. So that is a quite significant change. I think someone talked about it earlier in chat, that would mean that on average we're going to see one legendary per deck, 3 epics, or I think it was 1 legendary, 3 epics, like 9 rares or something. I don't know, maybe I'm completely hitting it off, but like, of course there are going to be more legendaries, rares, epics in the arena. So I'm okay with that. I think the main thing that we need to see is what future sets are going to bring and how they're going to develop those cards. Because right now they've been following the pattern where they release an epic and they make it. Most epics are bad in arena because they're part of a combo. Like examples are like preparation. What else do we have? We have like forbidden healing. We have like all these decks that are like, these cards are powerful in certain decks that you can build in constructed, but in arena they're rather meh. So having more epics will definitely then benefit classes that have good epics, which will then change because standard is rotating in, so Coghammer is out of the picture, for instance, for paladins. The Abyssal Enforcer and Flamestrike change even though I really hate Abyssal, I don't know, I feel like it's a bit, I think it's a bit random. Well, not random, they know that people don't like them, right? But I don't know, I feel like they're giving they're giving the people what they want, but the people will never be satisfied. The people will always move on. All right, we got Flame Strike and Abyssal nerfed, Violence Portal is next, and like it's you know, people keep going until like that damn River Croc is too damn strong, make it a 2/2, and like, you know, it's just you know, there's no end to it, right? So I think that it's almost like, you know, you give the people what they want, and now people are like, fine, so we'll whine more, and then they'll change more, and then I don't want that to interfere with their development, right? I don't think there was any need to reduce the number of Flame Strikes. I don't think Flame Strike is problematic in Arena at all. We've always been able to deal with Flame Strike. We've always been okay with it. Abyssal Enforcer is ridiculously strong. I can't say that I'm personally sad about it, but I think from a development point of view, it was probably not a good move. But once again, that's 100% my opinion, which, you know, you can absolutely choose not to value. Something else to note is when Arena changed from Wild to Standard, is that there are going to be a lot less 2-drops. Let me quickly have a look-see. This is something I looked at off stream. So if you look at Goblins versus Gnomes, 2-drops. I'm going to talk about the neutrals, right? Because that's what matters for all classes. Turn 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this is an epic, fair. So let's say 7 2-drops, 7.5, 7.25, whatever, right? Let's have a look at all the other sets combined. So we're not going to go over basic, right? Because that stays, but just all the other sets that got released. So gadgets then. Turn 2, we have Bartender, essentially, right? Blowgill's more of a tech card, Socialite as well. We'll call it maybe 2.5, right? Or 1.5 rather. Let's go to Karazhan. We have Thespian. That's 2.5. We have Baufin and Worgen. That's 4.5. We have Toad. It's 5.5. We have these two. That's 7.5. Blackrock Mountain, no 2s. So we are seeing roughly the same amount of 2s go away with Goblins versus Gnomes than all other sets combined. So that is going to have a huge impact on how decks are structured, which is why I tell people to not panic too early, because the way how people look at it right now, like I wanted to bring this up because it has relevance to the next change. The next change is that they're going to increase the amount of spells. Now, because there's going to be such a drastic change in the curve, with a lot of 2-drops going out of the rotation, the game will probably slow down, and it will be less centered around, you know, grabbing the board early and going aggressive. And in that kind of a meta, board clears and reactive cards are extremely strong, because it's all about, you know, I win unless he has Blizzard, unless he has Flamestrike, unless he has Hellfire, all these things, right? All these things we said that are potential beats to your aggressive style. Now, if the meta completely changes, we don't know how strong those spells are going to be. So yeah, more spells in a run. I think it's a good idea because it gives you more freedom. It makes it less about, oh, I went first with a 1-drop, a 2-drop, and a 3-drop. I win the game. If we have more spells, there's more options for swing turns. There's more planning and how you get back on the board. Like I said, the game's probably going to be a little bit more control centric, and I think playing true control is actually quite difficult to do. Playing mage with a bunch of insane spells, playing versus other classes that don't have that, isn't really playing control. That's just being a bully, right? You just have better stuff. But if all the classes become a little bit more, well, not all the classes, I'm gonna have a couple losers for now, and a couple big winners. But I think in general they can change the arena to where it becomes more skill based, which is a good thing, right? That's what we want, right? We want to be rewarded for making right decisions. We don't want to make the right decisions and then still lose because our opponent had a zombie chow on turn 1. Okay, so TLDR on this segment is, I think it's going to create more room for fun archetypes. It's going to create more room for difficult archetypes to play, and thus in the end rewarding this more skilled player. I could be wrong on this, but that's what I feel right now. Neutral classic cards show up less. A lot of neutral classic cards tend to be minions with any text that like interesting effects. So yeah, I mean, this one, sure, you're going to see less River Crocs, you're going to see less Bloodfin Raptors, which is also not going to improve your curve early on. But I don't really have a strong opinion on this. I think it's okay. They will make new stuff, and we get to play with the new stuff. I don't hate it. I personally never really am opposed to change. I think it's good to mix it up. And you know, like Ben Brode actually said that if they do fuck it up, they're willing to revert the changes. I think that's really big, right? We heard, or we saw Ben Brode reply to Reddit where he said, you know, we're going to try this out for a while, and if you guys really don't like it, we can revert it. I don't think it's going to be necessary, but it's nice to know that your game won't be, you know, if it gets utterly destroyed, that you'll be able to go back to the game you love right now. But I think it's going to be a good thing. Golden cards show up in Arena. I don't care. I only care about that half my deck is going to be golden because I can't disenchant some golden cards. So that's going to be annoying. So maybe I have to actually start collecting golden now because I don't like it that the deck list looks all shitty that way. But whatever. In the end, I mean, I think this is good, right? I am overly minimalistic when it comes to that. I know that a lot of people really enjoy this, having golden cards in the arena. So overall, so yeah, those are the changes, guys. So I think that we have a, you know, this. I think this is a really, really big chunk. It's like the best, like the biggest change they've made to arena to this date, and I think it's going to be a good one. So I'd say hold off on the pitchforks. Don't be too, you know, don't panic. The first 2 months might be weird because they have the next expansion in mind. So even if the first 2 months are weird and there's chaos and you don't like it, I would say, you know, hold off on your judgment. Wait until the next set hits, and then only then can we like properly really start evaluating how it goes now, because we want to see what they had in mind. Because to give you an example, if we look at Hunter and we see what Hunter is losing, and we see how Hunter is doing and how Hunter is, you know, very reliant on curving out and stuff, it looks like Hunter is going to be not a class right now, right? They lose Web Spinner, they lose Glaive Zuka, they lose Steam Beetle Sniper. Just in general, right? It's not that great. They lose Quick Shots. Is BRM rotating out? Soon, yeah, soon. So they will lose Quick Shot after those 2 months. But yeah, I feel like the next set they release will give Hunter some love. So it'll be nice.